Well, good morning. I'm Tara, and today we're just going to very quickly preview, just a quick overview of the 3 secrets to creating winning ads that work. And this is just a quick preview. We're going to go into a lot more detail on Monday at our meeting, but just to give you an idea of the things we'll be talking about. Now, just very quickly, a background of where I've gotten this information from. Over the past 10 years, I've created literally thousands of ads and campaigns for companies all over New Zealand, and you don't do something for 10 years without noticing some patterns of what works and what doesn't work. What I've done is, throughout that 10 years, the last decade, I've gone through and picked out some of the key things that I've noticed and some of the key patterns that I've noticed in ads that work really well. And I initially came up with quite a complex formula of how to put ads together, but then in recent years I've also found that's changed as well, and it's gone distilled it down to just 3 very basic, very simple rules and secrets that I keep pretty close to my chest on, and how to create advertisements that win, that actually work. And something else I've noticed as well, and this is a concept that I'll always keep in mind and advise you to with your marketing, is that the most solutions to marketing problems are generally so simple that they actually get overlooked. And I can tell you right now, I promise you right now, that there'll be no complicated answers here. It's all very simple. A lot of the marketing stuff that's out there that I've read, it's really too complicated, and generally it doesn't have a huge uptake, but the stuff that's simple generally is quite true, and it actually works, and it's easy to incorporate into your own business activity. But let's get straight into it. First of all, secret number 1: the more you tell, the more you sell. And I don't mean that by the more people you tell, the more you sell, because that's obvious, but the more you tell inside of your advertisements, the more you'll sell of whatever you're talking about. And let me give you an insight into that. We all know the old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But in print advertising, it's the opposite. It's the antithesis of that. 1,000 words is worth more than a picture. And that's an important thing to keep in mind. For most, a little golden rule I have is, for most small to medium enterprises, like yourself, SMEs, display ads, the nice fancy picture with the quirky little slogan, they won't work. Let me give you a quick example. If you go to a restaurant and you pull up a menu, 99.9% of the menus that you look at are going to look like what? All words. For example, you get the 100% Angus beef fillet, which is tenderly pan-seared and drizzled with delicious New Zealand garlic butter, with a side serving of fresh vegetables and crisp beer-battered fries, delicately sprinkled with our favourite and secret seasoning. Those sorts of words will sell that steak meal to you. And so those types of descriptive, emotion-provoking, thought-provoking words are what you need to incorporate into your ad. Selling the benefits, not the features. You sell the sizzle, not the steak. Okay, quickly on to secret number 2. And this is a very important one as well. Secret number 2 is the most important part of your ad is the headline. Just quickly think of, when you read a newspaper, how do you select what you're going to read? Firstly, if you're like most people, and the research shows that people will skim through the paper and they'll do quick grabs of the headlines, and then they'll decide from there which paper they're going to invest their attention into. And the same thing with your ads. People will figure out whether they're going to read your ad by the headline that you put in, and there's a lot of research material, and I'll give you actual examples of this on Monday, of how just by changing a headline, a very simple headline, you can dramatically increase or even decrease the response to your ads. Let's go through a very quick example of that. A basic headline concept would be, a dog bites man. Dog bites man. It happens every day. There's nothing really great about it. It doesn't evoke any interest. But one simple change to that headline, man bites dog, totally turns that around. You're thinking, how the devil can that happen? So that's the type of thinking that we need to apply to ads when we're writing the headline and we're trying to compose a headline. Now, here's an example very quickly of a headline that a good friend of mine used with a plumber. Let me read. The first headline that was in there before he came along was, Joe's Plumbing, proud to be in business since 1963. Now, I have a little chuckle when I read that because I see it so often, and it's a common mistake that people make. Good on you, Joe, for being a plumber and being in business in plumbing since 1963, but your market really doesn't care about that. After doing a bit of research into what really influences a buying decision for a person seeking plumbing, then this headline was rewritten, and the new headline was, if our plumber doesn't arrive at the time he says he will, your first hour of labour is free. So think about it. If you need a plumber, what's actually going on? Take a look at what's inside the head of that person. It's going to be one of two things. There's water everywhere, gushing everywhere, or there's poo everywhere. So, and if that's the case, do you really care how long the plumber's been in business? No. The market, all they want is the person who can get there the fastest. Now, in this case, they took the angle, a tradesman generally on time. Well, the anecdote generally is that they're not, so they took this spin on it. Now, eventually, more research showed when this headline was actually used, the increase in response was huge. Now, a little while, and they kept on working on it. They tweaked it as well, and they made some changes to the brand. I think they eventually called it Speedy Plumbing, and they changed it to, if our plumber doesn't arrive within 30 minutes, your first hour of labour is free. And once again, the response to that ad dramatically increased, and that was in a Yellow Pages ad, print ad. So these are some things to keep in mind when composing your headlines. And just very quickly, secret number 3. This is a secret that I got from a very good friend of mine, a marketing guru, very famous in Australia and New Zealand, Peter Sun. I remember sitting in in an airport with him, and he was reading a newspaper, and he gave me a note, and he said, Tara, look at this. He said, what's wrong with this ad? And it was an ad for a Mercedes car, and I was desperately trying to figure out where he was coming from and what the problem was. He said, this is a great ad, but they've totally missed the point. They haven't made an offer. They sold the sizzle, and he goes, I love the car, I love the Mercedes car, but they haven't made me an irresistible offer to get me to walk through the door of the dealership or to pick up the phone and talk to somebody. So that's the third and probably the most important key. If you get everything else wrong, get this right, is to make your offer absolutely irresistible. And so that's going to take a bit of thought on your part. Select which item of yours, gets the most response. What's your hottest item? What do you move the most of? What brings most people through the door? And look at either running it as a loss leader, or even just selling it at a price. If you're going to go on price point to make it irresistible, selling it at a price where you just break even on it. But what you want to do is you want to get people to respond to your ad, pick up the phone or walk through the door, so you can engage with them. And once they come, they've said yes to you once, then they can say yes to you again. You can upsell, cross-sell them, or trying to get repeat custom. But once they're engaged, then you can develop the business from there. So that's the other thing about making an irresistible offer. The thing is engagement. You want people to engage from your advertising. And basically that's it. That's what we're going to go through on Monday, but in a lot more detail. I'm going to give you real life examples and just show you in a bit more detail how you can apply this into your advertising and increase the response to your business. And a lot of this material you'll also be able to apply in other areas of marketing. It'll be useful for you. So we look forward to meeting with you on Monday and going through that with you. Cheers.